I'd like to call the meeting to order. If anyone has any special intentions, Councilman Carroll.
Thank you. Am I on? All right. Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to ask everyone for their prayers for my neighbor for the past 30 years, Mr. William Matthews, who has succumbed to an illness, and he's on his way to heaven now. No more pain. And also for another friend of mine, Miss Darlene Lawson Raynard. Miss Lawson was the daughter of the gentleman from which Buddy Lawson Playground is named after, one of my first coaches, and one of the guys who was a great inspiration, mentor, and his whole family to all of us young men in South Kenner. So those two individuals born and raised in South Kenner will be surely missed, and I ask for their prayers for them and their family. Thank you.
Anyone else? I would like to ask for prayers for my family. My nephew just recently had a diagnosis this morning, and I just ask for your prayers. Thank you. Councilman Brennan, can you please lead us in the pledge? In the prayer.
Thank you, Council Chair. Yes. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening and ask for your blessing and assistance as we gather. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you show us ways to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excel and to be the best that we can be. We ask this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Police Chief Glazer, could you please lead us in the pledge?
Madam President, you have a quorum this evening. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones, pagers, beepers, and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Is there any resolutions, motions, or other items from the floor this evening? Seeing none. Under the consent agenda, Item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of July 26, 2019. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. Item 2A is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Friends of Rivertown Incorporated on September 1st, 2019 at Kenner Laketown West Peninsula, being property owned by the City of Kenner in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2179-19. Visit Kenner to hold a public gathering on September 1st, 2019 from 3:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the purpose of a Freedom Fest at Laketown. Item 4 is correspondence reports from the mayor, CAO, and department heads. Item 4A, at the request of the administration, a report from Mayor Zahn.
Thank you, Council President. We just recently did a code sweep on July 31st in District 1, Councilman Carroll's district, on 31st Street. We had 24 violations and 1 court summons. Violations are a little high. We obviously have to do a better job there, but the Kenner Code Enforcement continues to do their work by doing these code sweeps. It's just hard to get people sometimes to realize what the code is, but I do want to thank James Muhammad and Molly McGinnis and all the men and ladies of the Kenner Code Department for doing what they do. A few other things that I just need to go over with you all. Chad Pitfield, who cannot be here with us tonight, he's on vacation for a change. He sent me these notes through Miss Diane, his assistant director, that we did some registration this week, and we actually sold out for the gymnastics program. He's been talking about figures of $8,000. It should go from, where we are to maybe making around $8,000 a month. Well, this one class, and he's thinking about opening other classes, did around $16,000. So that's doubling what I think he expected that we would do. It's been a great move. It was a great idea. that the administration, along with the council, has done here, along with Councilman Brannigan, to make this work with Chad Pitfield and Diane Long. So I appreciate everyone what they've done for that, and I think it's going to be a very successful program. If you have in New Place, if you have not been there, I think most of us have been there. I know I've toured it with a few of you all, but if you have not been there, I suggest you go and see how nice it's really come out. Continue to talk about the flooding in Kenner, and when I say flooding, I just mean the flooding of streets, which you heard me say last time, that it's really good news when the street holds water and it doesn't get into your home. But when sometimes the water just doesn't go down, we have a few problems, and Councilman Segura and Councilman Hayes have reached out to me. Councilman Brannigan and I were out one night dealing with that during the last rainstorm. We are, so that everyone knows, and if there's problems in 1 and 5, which Councilman Brennan and Carol, I haven't really heard a lot of that, but if there's some more issues besides the ones that you've told me about, we will run the cameras through Public Works and identify those problem areas and find out what the problem is. Some events that are coming up. We have Wildcat Wrestling that has decided to come to the city of Kenner. So back in June, they did an event at Butch Dewey. They came back also last Saturday and did another event. This is a group that does wrestling. They were formerly doing it in Jefferson Parish. They've decided to come to the city of Kenner. We appreciate them being here in the city of Kenner. We're going to have a press conference on Thursday, August 15th, this Thursday coming up at 11 a.m. They have some news to talk about an upcoming event. They've held it before at Butch Dewey in Councilman Segura's district. I know Councilman Segura has been there with me twice with Chad Pitfield to do that. If you haven't been there, it's like a semi-pro wrestling where they hope to eventually go on to the next step. It's really something to see. It's really, really nice. Looking forward to their announcements of what they're going to do, what they plan on doing in the upcoming months here in the city of Kenner, and how we can move forward with them. I want to also thank them for their participation with Lagniappe for Love. That's a nonprofit that helps kids with special needs and adults with special needs. That's something good that they've linked themselves up with. I think the first one went to Councilman Secure was actually connected with Lagniappe for Love. The last one was not. This is more, the last one they collected more for themselves to make their group move forward, but the proceeds from the last one went to Lagniappe for Love. So as we see, it's something good we brought into the city of Kenner, and those are the things that we need to continue to do. So I'm excited about their future here in the city of Kenner and what they plan on bringing to us in the future. As you all know, we've talked about Freedom Fest. We've done the press conference. Again, Freedom Fest will be September the 1st. In Laketown. It's from 3:30 to 9. It has fireworks. It's free. And also we will have a local, Jenna Hunts, doing a few songs and also the national anthem. We'll have John Schneider follow her. We'll have High Valley, two country music stars from Canada. They will open up for the main act, which will be Clint Black. So again, September 1st, Councilman Hayes, I want to say thank you to you for working very closely with us with this, and also our two at-larges to put this event on. And also I want to thank Dominic Impostata, Ricky Templet, Paul Johnson, and Mark Spears, along with all their colleagues, and we have a parish councilman in the audience right now at large, Keith Conley. Thank all of them for what they've done, because they've been some pretty big sponsors Jefferson Parish has to put this event on. So when you see these guys, tell them thank you. It couldn't happen without the help of Jefferson Parish and also Treasure Chest, Ashna, a lot of many other major sponsors. So remember, these events are free, but we have to put money into it to make it happen. Visit Kenner and Friends of Rivertown, or our two nonprofits that we use to do this, and they have done an excellent job also. That's all I have. Appreciate you all.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Councilman Sear.
Just a quick comment on the wrestling. As the mayor said, him and I went to the first one, which was the Lagniappe for Love, which brought in the Magnolia School residents. And it was just amazing to see how enthusiastic they were for this sport and how involved they were in knowing the wrestlers. The second one is more for their promotion, their monies on how they operate, and so it was a sold-out crowd, as the mayor said. And as we were introduced, the mayor and I, to welcome everybody, I just still want to let everybody know, I challenged the mayor to a match, but I haven't gotten an answer yet. So perhaps one day at one of these wrestling events, him and I can tussle in the ring a little bit.
There has to be competition.
I was the. I was expecting you to say that, but remember, I wrestled in high school and college, so I have the experience.
Yeah, but he has about 30 years on you.
I went to school at Curtis. I know how to do that.
Thank you.
I would say that please request, if that happens, please make sure that all of the council is invited to witness that.
Oh, well, absolutely. That'd be a sellout.
It could be your next fundraiser.
Yes, ma'am. Item 5 is acceptance, rejection of bids requiring an expenditure of less than $5,000. We have none. Item 6 is change orders requiring an expenditure of less than $5,000. We have none. Item 7 is acceptance of committee findings for final passage. We have none. Item 8 is re-subdivision ordinances for final passage. Item 8A is summary ordinance number 12,569. An ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of lots 8 through 22, square 43, into lot 22-A, square 43, Crestview Office and Industrial Park.
Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Carroll. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 9, public hearings for final passage. Item 9A is a public hearing regarding resolution number B17010, a resolution calling a public hearing to determine whether the structure located at 3621 California Avenue, Kenner, Louisiana, shall be abated by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember McKinney to open public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council? Yes. Okay. Yes.
Good afternoon. The structure in question is a pile-supported structure bearing a municipal address of 3621 California. The property is owned by Mr. and Mr. Robert H. Stigman. In February 2019, I went out there and I determined that the structure was unsafe, dangerous, under the building codes of the city of Kenner, as well as the city ordinances. On March the 26th, 2019, the notice was sent certified mail to the property owners advising them of the building violations. After not being able to locate the property owners, a curator was appointed by the city. The city of Kenner also contacted the services of an engineer, and it's noted in a report retained by the city of Kenner that the following reasons the project should be torn down. It's inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, and abandonment. It's a grade pile supported structure that's showing signs of needing soil. The utilities are still connected. The settlement has occurred throughout the driveway and sidewalk, including causing numerous trip hazards throughout the property. The structure's foundation has signs of extreme settlement. The adjacent ground on the north side of the slab was settled so much that felt paper was there to stop animals and rodents and vermin from going underneath the house. The roof framing and decking is rotten on the southwest corner of the structure, thus causing water intrusion at the interior of this section of the house. Based on a report of the engineer, the structure is a serious public hazard. We recommend that the city take the necessary steps to declare it a public nuisance and have it abated by demolition or brought up to the current codes and ordinances. Thank you.
Would the curator like to speak?
We do have a curator, I'm sorry. It's Mr. Keith Conley. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Council Administration. On or about April 24th, 2019, by letter, I was appointed as curator for this property at 3621 California. Upon assignment, researched the property using internet resources, JeffNet, the assessor's office, additional information that was provided by the Inspection and Code Enforcement, as well as the city attorney's office. Letters were sent to all persons identified to have an ownership interest in the residence. Had no response. On July 6th, I went to the property, spoke with the neighbors. I got contact information on Mr. Robert Tillman, who is his decedent's son. I made contact with Mr. Tillman as well as his wife Dawn. We've had several conversations leading up to the July 11th meeting, which had to be canceled due to Hurricane Barry. Again, contacted Mr. Tillman. He agreed to be here tonight to address the council. He is here tonight to answer any questions the council might have. So, as a curator, I've exhausted my duties, exerted due diligence, and have no further information.
Thank you, Mr. Conley. Mr. Tillman, would you like to step up? And please state your name and address for the record.
Robert Tillman. That's my father's house. I got a younger sister who's 52 that lives in the house up to about a year and a half ago. My sister moved from Texas to take care of my younger sister. My sister from Texas died. My father died 2 years ago. We've been here since '58. The house is sinking. That's a fact. Well, I had a guy go out there and fix the hole in the roof, put some shingles on it. My sister wants to live there. It's the only house she's known. Now, whether or not she can come up with $20,000 to level it, level the structure, because it's a cypress house. That's where she wants to live. That's all I can say. I cut the grass every couple of weeks. The last 6 months, I've been working out of town. She has nobody else. That's the only house she has.
Director Mohammed, would you like to respond?
What's that?
I come to find out, I know this gentleman. I don't mind working with him. I'd like to keep it on the books for demolition so that maybe put it out 60 days. If he doesn't come in compliance with 60 days, we can move forward with the demolition. I'll try to work with him. The property is full of trash, litter, and debris. You don't have to be a contractor to remove the trash, litter, and debris. You don't have to be a contractor to cut the vines off the house. I don't want to take this off the agenda because I don't want to bring it back in a couple of months. I want to keep moving forward. And I always say it. You guys hear me say it all the time. We want to move forward in a positive direction. We don't want to move backwards and have to come back and go through this hearing again. So if we can vote on this tonight, I would really appreciate it. And I'll take the time and I'll work with him. And if he's moved it and forward in a positive direction and I see the progress, then we'll take it off the demo list. I would hope that you would support us tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
I agree with you, James.
Councilman Segura?
Thank you, President. I met Mr. Tillman just a few minutes ago and had a discussion with him on this and understand his plight from the death of his father, death of his sister, and the other one wanting to still live in the house. But as you just saw from the presentation, the house is in such very bad, dilapidated condition. As I explained to you, we do have a responsibility, but as our co-director said, and as I explained, we'll be happy to work with you as best as possible. As the co-director just recommended, I think you said 60 days?
Again, I'd like to give him 60 days, and if there's enough compliance and he's moving forward, we'll extend that time.
Yes.
I just don't want to take it off the agenda and nothing gets done. That's all I'm asking, because we've been through numerous meetings where nothing gets done, and we're back here, we're putting it through the council again, we're wasting time, wasting money.
I agree. And that's what I spoke to him about, explained to him that, we could probably come to an agreement to go ahead and pass this legislation to order the demolition, but working with our code director, as long as you are showing improvement to the property, first off, as he said, don't take a contractor to clean it out. So if that's improvement there, and then have some construction work done to start the rehabilitation of it to his satisfaction, then at the end of that 60 days, we can extend it more. So if you're understanding and agreeable to that plan, that's what I'll ask my colleagues to consider when we vote on this.
Yeah, well, my niece is coming from Atlanta in 2 weeks to get my sister from Texas stuff out of the house. And from there, my younger sister, she's going to have to get with it. 60 days is fine.
Okay, well, just bear in mind that at the end of the 60 days, if he's not satisfied, then they will start the process for demolition. As I explained to you, then we would go forth and pay for it and have to put a lien on the property.
Now, what happens if my sister doesn't do it and then I decide to tear the house down?
Mr. Mohammed can explain that to you.
Again, I'm going to be more than willing to work with you. If you decide to tear the house down and you show us a contract with a demo company, or if you're going to tear it down yourself, you got to remember the slab's got to go too. We're not
Yep,
going to
yep,
tolerate a
yep.
slab standing there. We've tried that in the past and it just doesn't work out. So we'll work with you. I guarantee you, I'm going to do everything in my power to help you move forward.
Appreciate it, James. Thank y'all.
Oh, Councilmember Wilmot.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to have a question from legal. Does the current legislation have to be amended in any way to encompass that 60-day timeframe?
I think the council clerk would agree with me that if someone makes a motion, is that right, Ms.
Yeah.
Hall? Someone makes a
Yes.
motion to give the owner an additional 60 days, the legislation can reflect that the demo will commence 60 days after the effective date of the ordinance. So that gives him 60 days plus the 17 after it's adopted tonight. So that's 77 days.
And is that sufficient with you,
Absolutely.
Mr. Mohammed?
Without a doubt, yes, sir.
Okay. Then I'd like to make that motion.
So you're voting on approval tonight, order demolition within 60 days. That's your motion. Okay. Any
Motion.
further discussion? Council members, please vote. Oh, you're voting right now to close your hearing.
Yes, motion, yeah.
Motion passes 7-0 to close your hearing. Now you're voting on approval. You're giving the owner 60 days.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 9B is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 12,570, an ordinance approving a general advertising sign in a L Light Industrial Zoning District for Patrick Round on Lot 26, Square 41, Crestview Office and Industrial Park Subdivision.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to open public hearing. Council members, please vote.
One more vote? Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, thanks. Is there a presentation?
Yes.
Yes,
We have a presentation from the Planning Department.
thank you. The applicant in this case is Weber Consulting on behalf of the property owner. Their address is 2131 Bienville Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70112. This is the placement of a general advertising sign on Lot 26, Square 41 at the Crestview Office and Industrial Park. Lot 26 fronts Greenwood Street, generally bounded by Aberdeen Street to the east, Canal Number 14 to the north, and 23rd Street to the south. Lot 1A is currently Lot 26 is currently fenced in and was previously used for parking. The zoning on Lot 26 is light industrial, as is all of the surrounding properties, and the development of the property is all consistent with the light industrial zoning district. The proposal is to place a 44-foot high, 420 square foot, single-faced electronic general advertising sign on Lot 26. The sign will be mounted on a monopole foundation located towards the rear of Lot 26, set back approximately 80 feet from Greenwood Street. The applicant did submit Form 7460-1 to the Federal Aviation Administration and got approval for no hazard to flight on July 2nd, 2019. The general advertising sign meets the criteria outlined in the Unified Development Code, including there are no general advertising signs within 1,000 feet of the proposed sign. The proposed sign is not within 500 feet of any residential district or structure or any public park or playground of more than 1 acre. The proposed billboard does not obstruct any traffic signs or any views of vehicles using either Aberdeen Street or Greenwood Street. Finally, the general advertising sign is a permitted use in the light industrial zoning district. Finally, the Planning Commission did recommend approval for this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Councilman Carroll, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to first, thank the director of the planning department, along with all the men and women that work there, because, as everyone know, with the development of the new terminal for the airport, the development of all of the hotels that are coming up, this is going to be a busy corridor, and this is something that will set the face of Veterans Highway from Williams all the way to the parish line. So this is something that we all have to take, pay attention to, because this will become what we have to live with once we are gone. And for the past 3 weeks, I have personally met with the director, have met and spoken to his staff to see about meeting me with the property owners and the people who own the facility or who have ideas, and that's what we have to do going forward. So this is just a situation where we've met, and it's also something, I guess, kind of dear to me, and maybe Ben will remember this. Our former councilwoman, Miss Jeannie Black, was a stickler about signs. I mean, she held me accountable my first year on accountable for a number of things that I didn't know, and that I learned real fast about what is proper, what is not proper, and what we as the city of Kenner want to accept for our city, because a lot of people have signage all over the place, lit and all that. So, this is something we don't want to become, and this is an area that we all have to make sure that does not become that. So, again, thanks for the support from the planning department, all the men and women there, and we look forward as we go forward to the different things, the different look that this will become once this airport is put into place and everything around that starts to change. So thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council? Seeing none. Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to close public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 9C is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 12,571, an ordinance approving a planned unit development for a self-storage facility located on Lot 230-A2, Highway Park subdivision, which property is zoned C2 General Commercial.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to open public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
We have a presentation.
Yes, we do. Thank you. This is an application for a planned unit development to allow the construction of a new 133,400 square foot, 3-story self-storage facility that includes a stormwater management pond on Lot 230-A2 Highway Park subdivision. The property owner is Home Depot USA. The applicant is Philip Sherman of Adams and Reese on behalf of Brookwood Properties LLC, 10202 Jefferson Highway, Suite 161, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70809. As part of the requirements for this particular application, a public early neighborhood meeting was held on June 20th, 2019 at the Kenner Council Chambers. The applicant indicated one person attended and was supportive of the proposed development. Lot 230-A2 is generally bounded by 32nd Street to the north, Interstate 10 to the south, Arkansas Avenue to the west, and the CarMax entrance road, which was formerly the California Avenue right-of-way, on the east. The area north of Lot 230-A2 contains the Green Lawn Terrace subdivision and is zoned RR1, single-family residential. Lot 230-A4, located west across Arkansas Avenue, is zoned C2, general commercial, and is currently being developed as a dental clinic. Lot 230-A1 is located adjacent south of the site and is governed by Special Ordinance 11,104, which permitted the development of a CarMax Automotive sales and service facility. Lot 230-A3, located east across the CarMax entrance, is Zone C2, general commercial, and is undeveloped. The applicant is proposing a 40-foot tall self-storage facility, including associated parking, along with a stormwater retention pond located on the south side of the site. The entrance to the building will be from the CarMax access road. The ground floor of the building will total about 43,400 square feet and include the main life storage office space, an interior enclosed trash and dumpster area located on the southeast portion of the building, and a self-storage units. The second and third floors are all self-storage units and total 45,000 square feet on each floor. The building, there'll be two 12 by 35-foot loading zones provided along the east side of the proposed building in front of the two loading spaces, loading entrances. Currently, we have no minimum parking standards for self-storage facilities. However, a review of parking standards from surrounding communities indicate that the 23 parking spaces provided by the applicant would exceed what would be required typically for a self-storage facility. The building meets all of the height and setback requirements of the special industrial zoning district where self-storage facilities are a permitted use. The applicant is proposing a total of 3 attached signs, one approximately 121 square feet located on the northeast side of the building facing east, and 2 approximately 113 square foot signs placed on the north facade facing 32nd Street and on the west facade toward the north end of the building. The letters will be aluminum channel lettering lit with LED lighting and will say life storage. The detached sign will become part of the existing CarMax sign, so there will be no separate detached sign for the development. The landscape plan reviewer for the city of Kenner has determined the landscape plan meets the minimum requirements. In addition, the landscaping component, the applicant is proposing a stormwater retention pond located on the south side to assist with retaining the required 1-inch water per each storm event. Finally, the Planning Commission recommended approval for this development. And that concludes the Planning Department.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council? Councilman Hayes, oh, I'm sorry.
With Chef McCall unless he made the change a couple of days ago.
A couple weeks ago, yeah, made a change. So with Adams and Reese, Philip Sherman, 701 Poydras Street, New Orleans, here to answer any questions you may have.
Seeing none.
All right.
Thank you. Motion by Councilmember Segur, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to close public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Motion by Councilmember Segur, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to approve. Council members, please vote. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Councilman Segur.
Thank you. This project, first off, is on, as our planning director explained, is part of the Home Depot property, but this was actually a subdivision that was bought out by the airport as part of the noise mitigation lawsuit and had stayed vacant for a decade or more. And subsequently, Home Depot wound up with it and decided to not expand their operation, so then they decided to sell. They sold the first parcel to CarMax and left the additional 2 parcels on 32nd Street. So this project came up and this developer wants to do this storage unit. And as you've heard, we had a community meeting. Besides the planning director, myself, and Mr. Sherman, we had one person appear, and that was actually business across the street, law firm owner, and he was just happy to hear about it, that something was going there, and professed he had no problems with it. So it is movement to take land that has been available, as I said, for a decade or two, and get it back into more working commerce and bring more economic development to the city that you hear us talk about a lot. So this storage unit is, as I mentioned once before, George Carlin had a nice skit about what to do with your stuff. So this is a place to put your stuff when you don't have room in your house to put your stuff. So we all have stuff, so I think it'll be stuffed full by the time they open. So with that, I ask everyone to please consider approving this project. Thank you.
Councilmember Carroll.
Thank you, Madam President. And, as always, we look forward to things that improve the city as we get sales, companies, businesses is great. I would just want to, just to make sure that that I am informed on as we move forward with this, because this is right adjacent to the Lincoln Manor subdivision. And the drainage is always a concern. The lighting is always a concern. So just so I'll be able to answer questions, and a concern of once the construction starts, that the routing of the trucks is not going through the neighborhood. So I will ask Councilman Segura to keep me in line, the planning director, the co-director, because I know the questions are going to come, and rightly so if some things are out of place. But I like to meet them to make sure, that these are the things that we really consider, things as it relates to drainage, the lighting, and the construction with the trucks. Those are the three major things that always come out with construction. So we look forward to monitoring this as the people from District 1 that are literally across the street from this project. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilmember Carroll. Councilman Wilmot.
I just wanted to follow up a little bit on Councilman Carroll's questioning or comments. I presume that the interest to this property is going to be not on 32nd Street, but one of the side streets. Is that correct?
Yes, the entrance will be off of the CarMax access road.
Okay, so it's not 32nd at all?
No.
Okay, that's all I have, and I appreciate and I understand the concerns that Councilman Carroll has, and I'm good with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilmot. Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to approve. Please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 9B is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 12,573. An ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $1,750,000 excess revenue certificates of indebtedness, Series 2019 of the City of Kenner, State of Louisiana, prescribing the form and fixing the maturity thereof, and providing for the security and payment of said certificates of indebtedness and principal and interest, approving the certificate of determination and certificates purchase agreement relating to the certificates and certain other matters in connection therewith.
Motion by Councilmember Hayes, seconded by Councilmember Carroll to open public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council? Seeing none, motion by Councilmember Hayes, seconded by Councilmember Carroll to close public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Councilmember Carroll.
Thank you, Madam President. And Ms. Fauché, if you could please, and not in lawyers' terminology, in layman's terminology, kind of break this down for us so you know exactly what is being done, or the mayor, either one, as it relates to.
I can address you if you want.
Well,
So
thank
this
you,
is just
ma'am.
refinancing one of our the fire retirement pension that we have, the loan. So this isn't taking additional debt. This is actually going to save the city about $140,000 over the life of the loan. So it's a not to exceed 6% on the legislation, but with the market actually doing good right now, we're looking at 5 or below percent. So.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll. Motion by Councilmember Hayes, seconded by Councilmember Carroll to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. We have none. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution temporarily suspending Rule Number 11 of the Rules of Organization, Business, Order, and Procedure of the Council of the City of Kenner and rescheduling the Kenner City Council agenda deadline to Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019 at noon for the council meeting of September 5th, 2019.
Motion by Councilmember Hayes, seconded by Councilmember Segur to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 13B is a resolution calling a public hearing to determine whether the structures located at 3038 and 3040 Marietta Street, Kenner, Louisiana, shall be abated by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Brennan to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 13C is a resolution of the Kenner Consolidated Sewerage District, State of Louisiana, making application to the State Bond Commission for consent and authority to issue, sell, and deliver refunding bonds in the total aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $12,500,000, setting forth the security therefore, and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
Motion by Councilmember Hayes, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to approve. Council members, please vote. One vote pending.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 12,563. An ordinance authorizing the utilization of state contract number 4400014401 with U.S. Foods Incorporated to purchase food and food-related supplies for the City of Kenner concession stands in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
Councilmember Hayes, did you want to say something?
Well, I just want to mention in item 13C that we just approved, I want to highlight the good work of our administration on these debt issues. This one right here should come in somewhere under 3.5%. And as the CFO's office already mentioned, we're saving about between this and the non-D, we're saving about $1.5 million over the life of these debt issues. Also, there wasn't any discussion last council meeting about the Clean Water Act that we were borrowing under. That rate came in at 0.0095, less than 1%. I think everybody here, citizens of the city of Kenner, should understand the good work that our administration is doing, and that's the mayor, that's Deborah Fauché, who is our CAO, it's Mike Wetzel, our CFO, Tom Schreiner, our Public Works Administrator, and also in the audience tonight, I do want to highlight we do have our bond attorney, Bill Becknell, and also Kent Scheck-Snyder from Citizen Securities, our financial advisor. Gang, good work, really. I hope the people of the city recognize the good work that y'all are doing. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilmember Hayes. Getting back to 15A, motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brennan to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 12,564. An ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with ISI Water Company dated April 5th, 2019 for utility revenue enhancement services, which increased the not to exceed contract amount by $105,000 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Hayes to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 12,565, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Pontchartrain Materials Corporation, LLC, to supply limestone in accordance with seal bid number 19-6490 in an amount not to exceed $50,000 annually for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Seguer to approve. Councilman Brannigan, you have the floor.
I am not prohibited from voting on this piece of legislation, but it's my wife's brother-in-law who is associated with the company, upper management in it. So I have decided that I'm going to abstain for this vote to make sure there's no issue that could possibly pop up from it.
Thank you, Councilmember Brannigan. Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Seguer to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 12,566, an ordinance authorizing the utilization of Jefferson Parish contract number 55-18278 with All Star Electric Incorporated to provide emergency repair and/or replacement of East Bank Jefferson Parish traffic signal systems in the amount not to exceed $100,000 annually for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 12,567, an ordinance authorizing utilization of the existing state contract number 4400014520 with Gulf Coast Oil and Supply LLC to purchase oil, lubricants, and other related items for the city vehicles on an as-needed basis not to exceed $75,000 annually for the departments of fleet management, fire, and police.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Brennan to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15F is summary ordinance number 12,568, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Beacon Air Conditioning in an amount of $5,780 to furnish and install a 1.5-ton Mitsubishi Mini Split to provide supplemental cooling for the IT department in accordance with telephone bid number T19-2675 for the Departments of General Services.
Motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15G is summary ordinance number 12,572, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Han Enterprises Incorporated to furnish and install new play equipment at Highway Park in accordance with seal bid number 19-6491 and an amount not to exceed $94,689 for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Councilmember Seguer, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15H is summary ordinance number 12,574, an ordinance authorizing the use of State of Louisiana contract number 4400007550 with Genuine Parts Company doing business as Napa for the purchase of automotive parts on an as-needed basis.
Motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brennan to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15I, summary ordinance number 12,575, an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Gendusa Glass Works Incorporated to furnish and install mirrors at Esplanade Recreation Facility in accordance with letter bid number 19-1583 and an amount not to exceed $7,876.50 for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney to approve. Council members, please vote. Apologize. Councilmember Wilmot.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to actually have a legal opinion on this. As far as the installation of mirrors and so forth, I believe that I spoke with legal earlier today, and it was indicated to me that even the mirrors could be removed. If you can just elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes, sir. The lease that we have for that site has a provision that says that any improvements, fixed or otherwise, they remain the property of Kenner. So upon termination of the lease, we get to take those items with us.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilmot. Please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15J is summary ordinance number 12,576. An ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Han Enterprises Incorporated to furnish and install new shade cover at Laketown Playground in accordance with seal bid number 19-6484 in an amount not to exceed $44,995 for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Councilmember Hayes, seconded by Councilmember McKinney to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15K is summary ordinance number 12,577. An ordinance approving amendment number 4 to the engineering agreement with Kyle Associates LLC dated October 21st, 2013, concerning the installation of a new force main from Chateau Transfer Station to wastewater treatment plant number 3, increasing the agreement amount by $101,100 and extending the term of the agreement through December 4, 2021 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Carroll to approve. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Han Enterprises Incorporated to furnish and install new playground equipment at Gladys Playground in accordance with seal bid number 19-6483 and an amount not to exceed $43,565 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16B is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of ballistic body armor and accessories to outfit newly hired officers and replace expired body armor from Baton Rouge Police Supplies and Barney's Incorporated, utilizing state contract number 4400006358 and an amount not to exceed $50,000 annually for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16C is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from All Flags and Flagpole Incorporated to supply flags in accordance with letter bid number 19-1581 and an amount not to exceed $15,000 for the Department of General Services. Item 16D is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Planet Recess Incorporated to furnish and install a new playground at Veterans Park in accordance with seal bid number 19-6481 and an amount not to exceed $68,475.30 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16E is an ordinance authorizing the utilization of existing Jefferson Parish contract number 55-17786 with Genuine Parts Company doing business as Napa Auto Parts to purchase vehicle batteries not to exceed $75,000 annually for the City of Kenner Departments of Fleet, Police, and Fire. Item 16F is an ordinance approving an agreement with Siler Instrument for upgrades to Star Master Control System and Motor Controller at Kenner's Planetarium in an amount not to exceed $133,003.32 for the Department of General Services. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees. Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or removed from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Councilman Carroll wanted to speak.
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. And, you know, as I spoke about earlier about the young lady, Miss Darlene Lawson Reno, about the Buddy Lawson Playground, about Mr. Buddy himself, that along with many of the, Sal Plyer, Keith Woodward, all of these guys that I grew up with, I like to take this opportunity to congratulate as we move closer to the football season. Tomorrow is the first game of the season, and last week we were able to see the Hall of Fame inductees. And one of the gentlemen, Mr. Ed Reed, played football at Buddy Lawson. Before he moved, him and his family moved. He played at Buddy Lawson a couple of years before he moved to Destrehan, where he prepped and started at Destrehan. Went on to the University of Miami, and from there was drafted by the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens, won the Super Bowl, and now he's in the Hall of Fame. So it just goes to show you that young men that you come up with, that you see, that have done well for themselves, and right out of the little Little Kenner, man. This guy, he still comes back every now and then to see the young men on the playground, to talk to them on Sunday. So, you know, I like, on behalf of the Kenner Recreation Department, on behalf of all of the coaches from the Kenner Recreation Department, you know, thank you for the work that you do. You don't get paid the time that you put in for these young men and women. It says a whole lot. So there are many Ed Reeds who may not excel to the Super Bowl or to the Hall of Fame, but they are becoming well-established young men and women with families and employment and changing the world as we see it today. So thanks again for his support. Congratulate him and congratulate the city of Kenner. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilmember. Please state your name and address.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 47 years. Before I get started, I'd like to say let's keep the 22 victims in El Paso, Texas, and the 9 victims in Dayton, Ohio, and their families in our prayers. Now, I want to talk about a topic that was up for discussion in here at the last meeting concerning the Esplanade Mall and us being tenants in there. First of all, I've been talking to businesses in there for several years now, and everybody I talked to in there came to the same, talked about the same issue. The rents were too high. So I proposed for years that since that is a planned unit development, the city of Kenner should have had a sit-down with the owners of that mall. Back then was the Simon Group, way back when. And we needed to look at two things. We needed to look at what formula they were using to set those rates for those spaces in that mall, to make sure that they was charging those businesses fair market rates. And second, we needed to take a look at and evaluate what their property tax liability was to the city of Kenner. And by the way, during the discussions at the last meeting, it was talked about how, what type of tax, sales tax they generate. But no one talked about their property taxes, okay? Now, my view of economic development is when you attract sustainable and viable businesses to this city. But when the city government becomes a tenant in a retail mall because they can't keep businesses in there because of what I just said, to me, that's a bailout. And I'll always consider it as such. Now, as far as the comments that was made about this building here, the previous administration spent thousands of dollars in upgrades and renovations in this building. So at the last meeting, there was building needs extensive repairs, and it would be economically feasible to become a tenant and sign a long-term lease for yet another building, possibly in that mall. Now, I'm gonna have to see some documentation to support those claims, because I don't see why the previous administration would put that kind of money into this building, knowing that they needed, this building needs extensive repairs. Now, I want to direct this to our code enforcement director, Mr. Mohammed. On the news lately and in the newspaper, they was talking about issues and possibly another delay of opening that new terminal. So I'd like to get a presentation from you, Mr. Mohammed, and let us know if there's code violations going on over there or exactly what the problems are with this building.
Mr.
And
Morella.
wait, before I yield my time, anybody else got any comments, any questions? Mayor, Ms. Foshee, anybody? I do. Okay, Ms. Roussel.
Let me go first, James. Just to address.
I'll yield my time now, by the way.
Okay, James is probably going to take a little bit longer than me, so I'll go first.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Ladies first anyway.
Thank you. So the issue of a PUD and whether the city could get in there and meet with the Simon Group or the mall owners to regulate rents that they charge, that's not the parameters of a PUD, Mr. Morella. So, you know, we don't have any authority to go and tell the Simon Group or any other mall owner what they can and cannot charge for rent. That's not the parameters of a planned unit development. So
That's not, that wasn't my meaning, Ms. Roussel. My meaning was to take a look at the formula, not to tell them what they can charge and what they can't charge. But we certainly had a right to see why businesses were leaving out of there.
But not through the planned unit development process, not through that process.
Thank you, Mr. Morella.
Okay.
Time is up.
Mr. Mohammed, I want to stand right here until I hear his presentation.
Mr. Morell, in a pre-construction meeting at the airport, the construction company told us how they were going to surcharge this property and what they were going to do, and I was appalled by it. I came directly back to the director at that time, and I told them what they were going to do, and I told them it's not going to work. I said, there's nobody that knows the soil conditions of the city of Kenner better than my code enforcement department. I had an emergency ordinance passed before this mayor. I actually had a conversation with this mayor about them. I told him to get this ordinance passed right away. Our wonderful legal department pushed it through right away for me. We moved the hangars real close on 2-foot centers. The project started off with that on those 2-foot centers. We haven't had any problems at the airport with the hangars on 2-foot centers. They fought us. They hired an engineer that overruled my ruling. And at that same, when the engineer overruled my ruling, because I'm not a licensed engineer, I might not be a licensed engineer, but I told that guy, I said, I'm not a pencil pusher. And I said, you're a pencil pusher. Well, anyway, I'm proud to sit here and tell you that we warned him what was going to happen. I'm confident in my decisions that I made going to the mayor and telling the mayor and in the council what was going to happen. And we have the documentation and the proof that we warned them. And it's going to be an ongoing problem for the life of the project. It's not going away anytime soon. And that they're spending more money now in repairs than if they would have listened to us from the get-go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you. Mr. Teft, please approach. State your name, your full name. Oh, I
My name's
apologize.
Greg Taft. I live at 3720 West Loyola Drive in Kenner. I really have one question, and that's going to be for probably Chad, is why is the Recreation Department moving into the West Esplanade? I think I read that they were moving the department itself to the West Esplanade Mall, and I just wanted to know why we was doing that.
Thank
There's
you,
room in the
Mr.
front
Teft.
part of the lease portion for the entire department. So is this on? There's room in that portion, the front portion. The back portion is where the gymnastics and the karate and where the cheer programs go. In the front part, if you've been there, that is an office space, so they're moving office space there.
So so where they're at now isn't adequate, or?
No, sir, it's not.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Teft.
If I may also
Yes.
follow up on one of the questions posed by Mr. Morell is what was the property tax liability at the Esplanade Mall? The combined property tax for the Macy's parcel and the mall proper is $56,000 a year.
Thank you, Ms. Foshi. Where's it coming from? Pastor Jackie? Okay, thank you. Councilmember Wilmot?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to clarify the record. I mentioned something earlier in one of them right before when I voted on the 32nd Street and the storage facility. I mentioned that I had no problem with it, and I certainly, after the presentation was given by planning, of course, that clarified some of the issues, and as far as the entrance and the runoff of the excess water, so forth. I think that helped me in making my decision, so I just wanted to clarify the record. Because of those things, it helped me understand it better, and also the rendering that was presented to us. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilmot. Seeing no one else, a motion to adjourn?